tend to think of myself as a natural disaster. Maybe I'm born this way. Like that one time when I earned the wrath of a nun while walking down a road. Initially, she had smiled at me indulgently as she read loudly, "When God made me." It was the slogan printed on the t-shirt I was wearing. Her expression changed from bliss to anger, and she glared at me savagely as she read the next part of it, which went, "When God made me, He was showing off." Something told me it didn't go down well with her. She pointed out the blasphemous words to the other nuns. In my defense, I didn't wear the t-shirt because of the message. I just thought the color was pretty. And hence, my overprotective dad, well aware of my tendency to invite trouble, has always gone on an overdrive to shield me from the unknown forces that plot and scheme at the celestial level. Needless to say, I had to convince my parents that in spite of my special talent of attracting trouble, I would manage, just like the rest. This is the story of a girl who decides to stand on her own 2 feet, or in my case, stilettos. She packs her bags and does the most cliched thing she can do. She shifts to Mumbai. Mumbai, I picturize it as one of those rotund, pot-bellied ladies, or maybe an Indian version of one of those bloated Chinese monk Buddhas, bursting at the seams, but ready to stuff itself with more junk food. As if there's a "bring it on, bitch" sort of a smile plastered perennially on Mumbai's face. Ever welcome to anyone who wants to bring down their sandcastles from the air onto terra firma. At the airport of City of Joy, Kolkata, my parents waved me a goodbye with all the melodrama befitting of a Bengali family that carts along the entire dynasty to the airport for some last-minute family bonding. And mom, like all moms, told me to look out for the eligible bachelors. I rolled my eyes and shrugged my shoulders. I then disappeared into the melting crowd at the Indigo gate. Shuffling my way to my seat, I found myself buckled in next to a middle-aged lady, 35, 40-ish. Her beaded necklace reached almost to her knees. Her kurta had seashells sewn in randomly. I wondered if she was returning from a holiday in Southeast Asia and it was a clever ploy of smuggling in the seashells which the airport authorities otherwise prohibit from carrying. Her hair frozen to a sparrow's nest with hair clips that looked like drumsticks sticking out from odd angles, holding the chaos in order. She had massive sunglasses perched atop her head, accented by a humongous bindi. Bright magenta lipstick, gothic nail paint, heavy blush on the cheeks. I took in the rainbow of colors, and suddenly my white shirt and dull brown trousers made me feel inadequate. As I reached for the in-flight magazine, I caught her eye, and I told her this would be my first time into Mumbai. She said, "In 2013? I said, "Yeah." "You're late," she said. I thought out loud, "I am?" She said, "Of course, people shift to Mumbai in their early 20s. Looking slightly offended, I told her I was in my 20s. "Still, you could have come earlier. All these models, they start off at 17, 18. My bruised ego found some solace. Maybe she was just ruining the fact that I had missed my bus to stardom. But she dismissed any such illusions by saying, "Models have legs that don't end. They just go on and on in silky smooth airbrushed strokes." Snapping my seatbelt over all 5'4" of me, I looked out of the window at the only runway I would ever find myself on. And while I was mulling the death of a career in the glamour industry quietly, Lady Gaga, well, that's how I've nicknamed her, she was a little neurotic. In fact, when I told her that for some odd reason the airline food was good, she interrupted me by sharing more pearls of wisdom. She said gravely, Location matters in Mumbai. The last time I had heard location matters was from a Casanova who was explaining what matters most when you kiss a girl. I snapped back to the present and asked her to elaborate. She said, "There's the town and there's the suburbs. Town is where the rich and those who matter stay. The suburbs is where everyone else stays." I said, "So in Mumbai, you don't judge a man by his shoes?" "No," she replied, "but you judge him based on where his shoes get to rest at night." I looked at her, pretending to be enlightened, and said, "I see. I guess I just don't get the same thrill from judging another person as she does." Encouraged by my naivety, she took an upper hand and animatedly ran me through the different parts of Mumbai, like an art curator who walks you through his entire collection of curios. Her eyes glistened when she spoke about parts of South Mumbai. She remembered Bandra fondly. She grimaced when she mentioned Mira Road and so forth. She waxed poetic about Malabar Hill, home of, according to her, the dirty, beautiful and rich. I asked her about Dharavi. She said, "Why, is that where you'd be staying initially?" and laughed at a clever joke. I said, "No, but..." She cut me short and said, "You guys need to grow up. Fixated about Dharavi after watching Slumdog Millionaire and reading whatnot. There's more to Mumbai than just romanticizing the slums." Well, Lady Gaga may have been dismissive, but how can you not think of a place that's crooked and crumbling and yet has the ability to stand straight with its head held high? 6 lakh residents crammed in 520 acres of the Dharavi slums. It is home to the thriving warehouse industry, India's largest recycling center, and innumerable small-scale industries. In a nutshell, the backbone of this city. "So, what else is there I need to see?" I asked. She gave me a scathing look and said, "Find out. How would I know what you'd like in Mumbai? Unless, of course, you want to do all the touristy things, the museums, the gateway, eating bhel puri, vada pav, or a walk on Marine Drive." I had a brainwave. The underworld mafia dons. Yes, I thought this was the right time to ask her about the bad guys who led such exciting lives in unexciting times. But it turned out to be a mistake. She pooh-poohed me away and said, "People like us, who were born and bred on a staple diet of Bollywood, had not grown up right." Tell me about it. My friends have always grumbled that I didn't grow up right. And now I have a perfect stranger rubbing it in as well. I try to butt in and name a few Hollywood movies, which are my all-time favorites, thinking this should dilute her condescension. But she nipped me in the bud. She said, I should explore the vibrant theatre life in Mumbai. NCPA, Prithvi, stand-up and improv comedy shows, wine tasting. She also told me to soak up the Kala Ghoda festival in February. Get drenched in the colors, she had said. Rent a bicycle and explore the Canary Caves at Borivali. Take a boat to Elephanta. Attend a Sufi concert. Keep an eye out for gigs at Honeyman Circle. Strum the guitar at Bandra Bandstand. And finally, top it off with an ice cola at Juhu Beach. Wow, I said to myself, that's quite a heady mix. And just when I was warming up to her, she had turned frosty and snooty. And then at times she'd look at me, recognize the utterly babe lost in the woods look, and have sound advice to share. Like when she gave me a few tips on how the dating scene works out in Mumbai. She said, don't expect the guy to come to your door to pick you up. Neither of you will reach the party on time. Be independent. Reach the venue on your own. I looked crushed. I said, what about chivalry? Isn't he supposed to pick and drop? She said, drop most certainly yes. Mumbai is very safe, but be smart and don't travel back so late in the night. If you expect to be picked up as well, better date somebody from the neighborhood. But that would limit your choices and is the recipe for a bad romance. Lady Gaga mentioned in passing the places where you could shop till you drop and where exactly in Crawford Market one could buy original cosmetics for half the price. I said, but Frank Sinatra said, I like intelligent women. When you go out, it shouldn't be a staring contest. She snorted with a poker face. You think men really want to know about your opinion of the weakening rupee? Men are visual animals. Okay, that was Lady Gaga one upon good old Sinatra. There were a few other tips by her. Keep an eye out from paparazzi and maybe you could get into the newspapers. Stay on the edge of fashion, but don't look like you're trying too hard. And no matter what you do, never ever look starstruck. Like Lady Gaga and her costume changes, this woman was constantly in flux. I could barely keep up with my co-passenger, the way the world can barely keep up with the original diva. She once stepped out of an egg at a concert. Another time she stepped on the red carpet in a dress made of meat. And yet another time she stepped on stage in an elegant cream-colored dress. So finally, I reached in the city, immortalized in my head after reading Shantaram and Maximum City. I remember the lines from NC which went, quote, all great cities are schizophrenic. Bombay has multiple personality disorder, unquote. Schizophrenia or not, my first stop at a local phone recharge shop sure jolted me out of my senses when I asked for a certain recharge card. The shop owner said, Khallas. I was reeling. Khallas? Isn't that what the underworld mafia dons say when they murder some hapless person? I looked at him again, totally lost and a little scared. This time, he made the same hand gesture I was so used to watching in Bollywood movies when the victim is silenced permanently. His hand made a clean sweep and he said, Khallas. I reflexively took a big gulp. I blinked at him and that's when it hit me. He meant the coupon was out of stock. I could breathe again. Hailing from a city known for its sweet language and rasagollas, needless to say, it took a while to get used to the Mumbai lingo, which appears crass, but really the people mean no harm. That rough push which you may get in a local train is usually a helping hand that helps you get off at the station. And then there's that man who crossed the road to tell me that I was headed in the wrong direction. He had simply overheard me talking to somebody on the phone. No, the people of Mumbai don't mean to pry into your privacy or step onto your toes. They are just plain and simple helpful. Of course, I have had my run-ins with ticket collectors for no fault of mine and have had some unpleasant experiences as well. But no city is in black or white completely. Mumbai can also intensify the feeling of loneliness for those of us trying to find a foothold in a new city. To be fair, I've also heard the same thing about London and New York. It's one thing that great cities have in common. And like Oliver Twist, I have felt a bit of an orphan, finding my way about the city as it can overwhelm the senses. And when trying to hold on to a bit of warmth, I have been told harshly by new friends that they feel a burden of responsibility towards me for feeling so rootless. So where perfect strangers have exuded warmth like bonfire on a cold night, those close to me have sometimes not found a place to fit me into their supposed fast-paced lives. But you've got to take it with a pinch of salt or masala for that matter. It's not for nothing that there's a proverb that goes, the good, the bad and the ugly. Okay, that's not a proverb, just a movie. But you get the drift, right? But unlike Clint Eastwood, the chairs I'm talking to tonight have people in them. And Lady Gaga, I remember her. Every time I dig into berry pulao at Britannia or queue up at the Parsi restaurants for dhansak and caramel custard. Some of my friends have landed at these places late in the evenings and found them closed, much to their disappointment. But Lady Gaga had warned me, these Parsi restaurant wallas, they close shop by 5 p.m. I had blurted out, but that's bad for business. Don't they want to make profits? She looked at me scornfully and said, there's no such thing as a happy marriage, just as there's no such thing as a poor Parsi. They open and close their restaurants according to what pleases them. In a city obsessed with money and greedy for fame, it's nice to see Not everyone subscribes to that materialistic philosophy. And as quirky and full of surprises as her namesake, Lady Gaga may have disappeared with a wave of her hand and a lowering of her sunglasses as I waited for my suitcase at the baggage claim. But as I take a mouthful of Mumbai and munch on it, I realize that in the end, this city is what you make of it and not what others tell you it is. It's a story of struggle. It is the story of achievement. It is the story of newcomers who feel lost in it during the initial months. And it is the story of the veterans who have lived here long enough to take up the place of Lady Gaga and give advice to the rest of us. Bombay, I feel, is like an ink blot spilt on an open page of a book. You can press it between the pages and open to interpret the design in your own unique fashion. Maybe this city is evolved like this. Maybe it's only like that in our minds. Or maybe Bombay was born this way. Thank you.